Recording in
So that,
progress.
yeah, I think at a high level, we could talk about some things but we should probably wait until executive session, which I hope also Paul can join, to help, because
Sure.
you've been in the business a long time. But I think we should be a little careful about doing this in open session. So I think, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, because no, this is not in executive session.
Correct. This is open, and
So,
anybody
yeah.
can watch the tape here. But I think the intent is to look at it, maybe look at some models, and maybe look at recent, just kind of our experience as board members and CAB members, and what things might we recommend up to the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly happy, to share what my last contract in Hingham said.
That would be great, actually, because we found the Wakefield one, and if you don't mind forwarding,
Yeah, no, I don't mind.
that would be great. They all seem a little similar, but from the ones I've seen, but also they're a little different.
Yeah, I don't know who Peter Dion in Wakefield had write his for him. I mean, I can find that out easy enough. I guess. But Deidre Lawrence worked with me
Right,
on my Hingham one.
right, and on the.
And here as well, Frank, the offer letter, or however described it. Yeah, so Deidre, so with my contract, you would have, if you will, her perspective.
Yep.
And I don't know who did Peter's.
Right.
I can find that out.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you have a copy of, is it a recent one of his, Rich, do you know?
Of,
Peter Dion's Wakefield?
I think it's the current one. It's a 5-year, I saw it's a 5-year contract, so
Okay.
that sounds like it's a pretty long contract.
Yeah, Peter's been in Wake, so when the heck did he leave NSTAR? He was one of the first to leave the mothership to go to Muni World. So that, let me think now, no, Battisti was the first. He was probably like 2002, 2003. So Peter left NSTAR somewhere around 5, I
Yep.
think, came here, was here for some period of time, working for Vinnie Cameron, then went to Wakefield. So I'm gonna guess he's been there, geez,
10 years?
yeah, all of 10 years, maybe even more than that.
Yeah,
So whoever he used, and generally, unless something kind of dramatic happens, it's kind of change the dates, change the money, everything else kind of stays the same.
intent meeting once you're in.
Once you're in, yeah, like, unless there's some circumstance that happened, between your last contract and the one that you're currently working on, they
Right.
generally, at least I can speak for myself.
Sure.
stays
Once you're
the
employed.
format pretty much.
And hey, things are great.
Yeah, you're good, here's.
Right, exactly. So since we have obviously we have a change, and one thing you mentioned, who wrote Peter's or who wrote yours, is one thing, is I think none of us on the committee are lawyers.
Yeah,
So we're not people who write contracts or even write edits to contracts, but I think we would benefit, and the full board would benefit from counsel, and just to put it on the table, I think it would be useful to have counsel that is not perhaps already working in the muni world, just to have a fresh outside perspective.
so the Muni world is different in that, there's Massachusetts law.
Yep.
That clearly, I should say clearly, that defines, responsibilities and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
So my kind of first blush on that is, if you have somebody that isn't familiar with the nuances of how Chapter 164 is supposed to work,
Understood.
they could write a contract that's gonna put you at loggerheads. I say loggerheads,
I understand.
from Jump Street.
And I think we have some familiar with that dynamic over the years in various contexts. And that those peculiarities and the mandates of Chapter 164, yet there's this Board of Commissioners that in some way directs and controls in some.
Yeah, it's as
So-
clear as mud, right?
It isn't, right, that's the thing, and I guess you're right, you're definitely right, and then the other side of it is, there's an optics thing, if the same people who are helping the board negotiate with an incoming GM and then turn around and they're working for that GM, or they used to work for the last GM, and that is gonna be part of what somebody's thinking about, like, okay, I'll be working for this guy for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
So It just feels like for this brief period of getting a fresh set of eyes and mindful of what you just said, that, and I think I've heard over the months and years that we would maybe like to have somebody who isn't the usual.
Yeah, I mean, that's, clearly that's gonna be your choices, but I'm gonna suggest that, maybe the person that you get to help
Yeah.
write it, so they write it, they do their thing, but you have it kind
Sure.
of,
Sure, there could be a.
looked at, let's just
Exactly.
pick a name, Chris Paul will
Sure.
look at it to say,
Exactly.
whoa,
That's gonna,
if you leave this thing in here, this is just gonna, you know what I mean?
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I would not want to get somebody from Timbuktu who, oh, this is
There's
the
no clue.
woman contract.
Yeah,
This big
exactly.
IBM. It's more like understand chapter 164 mandates and the case law, which is out there. And look at the contracts that we've had, which are all similar, but also look at maybe what some of the questions that have come up are and what are ways that little things could be done
Mm-hmm.
that ensures the local control. So it's not far apart from what you're saying. It's just the having the same people who always are working at the discretion of GMs, also at that brief period, helping the board.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. Sorry,
Hey, guys, just real quick, Vivek's got his hand up, so just wanted to recognize Vivek.
So thanks, Rich. So I think, this is a good point. And so I break this down into two stages, given Paul. So first is it's important for, I think, the commissioners to have an independent counsel, okay? Because for the commissioners to be able to engage a counsel rather than have the general manager only engage the counsel. Because I think right now that seems to be an issue. So that's the first point. And then the second one is what type of firm should one that be, So because Paul, just from good governance point of view, there's always like if I go to any like outside the Mass General Law 164 world, if one is doing a business transaction with one person and you go to a law firm and say, can you represent me? The first thing they do is they'll say, let me check and see if I have a conflict. Okay. So if you are getting into a contract discussion, so I think what we are talking about, David, correct me if I'm wrong here. We are primarily talking about contract negotiation between the general manager and the commissioners.
Right.
Everything else is under the purview of the general manager. All other services are under them. So this is only for the negotiation of the contract for the general manager. Okay. And if that's the case, then so I think that's, I just want that to be very clear because that's the first step. And then the second step is who the law firm should be. So it's always bad form for the same law firm to be representing two sides of this issue, right? I mean, that's just bad law. It's not good law. Do you agree, Paul?
Yeah, no, I hear you. So who's gonna write it?
Well,
I mean, I think part of it is, I think we need to get perhaps move forward with a separate meeting to talk about some of the specifics in terms of the ideas. So there's sort of the idea component, and then there's the legalese that the lawyer comes in and and helps us describe. So without really diving into all that, I guess one of my proposals here would just be to schedule a separate meeting where we could move into executive session if there are specific ideas that we want to talk about, sort of at a high level. For example, one of the things that I wanted to sort of submit to the committee for review would be some incentive compensation pieces. That would be bonus pieces for things like peak shaving and additional or additional renewable energy procurement, specific strategic partnerships, things like that could be interesting from from an objectives standpoint and the goals of the utility. So those would be some of the things. I think there are probably, other things that people have in mind, and some of the reasons why they might have, wanted to join the committee here. But if we get into the specifics of those, I think it should probably, as Dave mentioned at the top, be in closed session. And if we want to if you feel like there's additional details that we need to work out at this time in terms of the process, that's fine. But it's I think the actual topics and the actual things that we would want to put in would be up to the committee to quote unquote write, and then to bring to an attorney to make sure that it's contract savvy and so forth.
Yeah,
Which I'm
contract
not
savvy,
sure-
contract savvy, and also in line with our policies, right? So
Yeah.
so the
And
policies
160.
form the framework.
Good, Paul.
So I'm not sure that for government and for purposes of this conversation, we are government, bonuses are acceptable. I believe it's different than private industry. I know that at least one muni does it. I have been advised, I have heard that they're not supposed to be.
Interesting.
Interesting.
We did for Colleen numerous times.
Right. So that's clearly something that can be answered
Yes,
by a 164 attorney.
for sure.
For sure.
Generally, it's any public sector or municipal
Correct.
type of firm.
Correct. I mean, there's a big how do you do now about the mayor from Everett. He was getting some sort of bonuses, and the inspector general was weighing in
Okay.
and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not certain that, so for executive types in private industry, it's all about the bonuses, right? I don't know that because this is government, if there is that same sort of latitude.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Appreciate that, Paul. So obviously one of the things that we'll want to, sort of that.
Exactly. You got to get that squared away before you start going down that rabbit hole.
Right. And I think I agree with what Rich said, but flipping it, that we get the lawyer first, the lawyer's in the meeting and can immediately cut off any nonsense of no, good idea, but can't do it.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. Before you start spinning, because time is
For sure.
kind of the essence.
So, I don't think, and just from being on the board a while, I don't think what we'd be looking for is going to be all that surprising or all that crazy. It's going to be like just making sure we have ways to know what's happening. We have a little more visibility into some things. If things are, just that subtle changes in the existing language could, I think, probably satisfy a lot of the members. And
Okay.
just that we're aware of things going on, that we get reports, that we have the means to follow up on things in legitimate ways.
Yep.
That's kind of, I think, the gist of some of this. And so I guess we may be moving towards maybe at another meeting of like asking you, because we understand that you are the signer of all documents.
I was gonna, was my face getting red when Vivek said, we'll hire the attorney.
No. Yes, Vivek, what he meant was we would ask very nicely.
I didn't hear that part.
That was the bad connection. It's because you need a better fiber optic network here. So, yeah, no, he meant to say that.
Well,
Right. Yeah, no, we understand. We're not gonna go, but we would ask you and we would. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't wanna put the next person, whoever that is,
Right.
and you guys in a jackbox from day one.
Right, exactly. And I think there could be a way to do it where you're writing something that's like, it's very, very tightly described, only for this, only to help the board negotiate the contract. And maybe if there's an issue with the contract later, that the board can go to this person, nothing else.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that we do. We don't say, oh,
Oh, and by the way,
by the way,
how about that?
right, no, none. And that can be right in there. No.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
only,
So if the attorney, they're gonna have to come to me to get their invoice approved.
that's true. They will. But
So if I'm sitting there, for the discussions, then
right. That's interesting too, because like, if right, so even in the scenario where, let's say, okay, we said, could you please have an attorney just for the board if there's something that has to do with
right.
you, but you then have to approve. It's a funny it's a funny
It's
situation.
kind of a check and balance sort of a thing.
Yeah, but it's almost like there isn't a check and balance, you know, because that's the point, right? It's like, so anyway, so.
But yeah, so I will, I'll get you, a copy of my last agreement
Okay,
from HMLP.
Yep.
You could see what's in it. You have presumably contracts from here.
Yep.
It sounds like you have one from Wakefield, so.
Yep.
Just as things kind of, as David, as you certainly know, and Rich and Vivek, if you don't, you find it out pretty quickly. There aren't a lot of lawyers that are familiar with muni stuff.
no, but
So it's basically Chris Pollard, it's basically Deirdre and Walter say, basically Nick Scoble.
right, but at the same time, there are a lot of firms who know municipal law and public law and are smart people who.
Yeah.
Because those are also, the three you mentioned are also the ones that do the bulk of the business.
That's what I'm saying.
Expression of those same GMs that are so hired.
Right.
So that's the thing. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe what we can do then is I would propose a separate meeting for maybe Monday. I guess I want to keep this going at a relatively quick clip just because of where I suspect the other group is in terms of candidates. So would it be okay to schedule another meeting and perhaps we could even go into executive session if we need to on Monday, the 29th at 4 p.m. Is that a possibility?
Monday at what time?
29.
4 p.m.
Probably.
Okay,
Does that work?
Works for me.
okay.
Great. Vivek's good. I'm good. Dave's good. Erica, you can hear us, right?
Yes, I can. All good on our end. So just a couple quick questions since we're here. The three, so it will be three. It'll be the current GM contract, it'll be Paul's from HMLP, and then you have a Wakefield one. If you want, you can send those to me. I can put them in a packet for you guys, per usual.
Cool. Yep.
That'd be
And
great.
then do you want to do a regular and executive? Do you want to do in person or all remote?
Do it remote, please.
I can-
Just do it
What do you need
remote.
to do, Vivek? I can do in person.
Yeah, no, just do it remote. Like I have another GM selection. I have a search committee meeting earlier that day, so it's just a lot of RMLD stuff.
Okay. Okay,
On the
so we can do
29th,
it. We can do it remote.
Said.
And then Vivek, I thought I heard this, but I might be mistaken. Did the search committee tentatively propose a date that they want the contract finalized by from this committee?
No, nope.
Okay.
We have, but that's something for us to, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right.
And
And just for whatever it's worth, and oh, by the way, whatever the contract says, somebody else has to agree to it as well.
Well, right, exactly. That's why I don't think anybody's looking to change it
Right.
very much.
I always win all the negotiations 100% when I'm looking in the mirror and negotiating.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, yeah.
They always go well.
do we, Erica, do we need an agenda for that meeting, for the Monday meeting? And do we need a separate agenda, a public agenda for the executive session, or is that something different?
So we'll do, we are required to do a regular posting 48 hours. So that will be the regular agenda. And then for executive, on that agenda, there will be a motion to enter executive and it will say, what you're going to talk about. And then I'll do a separate agenda for executive that will not get posted, but it will get circulated. So that is like a confidential agenda that we don't post.
Okay,
Would it
but
be on
you
the
do
same
need
day?
it. You do need it ahead of time. Is that right?
Yeah, I think best practice is to send it to you guys ahead of time for sure.
Okay. And so does anybody have any candidate agendas for the public portion?
I don't know. What are you asking, Rich? I'm sorry.
Well, just we need to state an agenda for the open meeting on Monday. So I guess maybe to discuss topics for contract revisions or edits, not revisions. Revision sounds a little heavy. I'm looking at these contracts and I just have a few little ideas, you know, it's like, so contract edits is that sufficient for an agenda for the public portion? Or
Erica, what does what does the notice have to say for the
So-
public component?
Well, by law, it has to say like time, date, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're going into executive and you're not going to talk about anything in regular, what I can do is I just post call to order and then I post enter into executive, and then you can talk about scheduling prior to if you want in regular, but then that's all that will be on that agenda, and then your conversation will occur in executive.
In executive, and then when it's time to end, we come out of executive, go into, this is a question. Go into, we're in executive, we come out of executive for the purposes of closing the meeting, and that's it, correct?
Correct. For your
So
purposes, yeah, correct.
The only other thing would be, though, I think it would help us, to your point, to cut off if we have ideas of silly things that a lawyer would say no, then we should have that lawyer.
Well, I was gonna say, as I was thinking it through, it would make sense to have some, you know, an attorney
Yes, it would
there.
keep things that,
Yeah.
as early as the next meeting?
well, maybe that meeting is to, I don't know. As long as you call a meeting, you can always change whether it's executive or regular, right?
Right.
As long as the
I-
meeting, no?
No, not
So,
really.
yeah, once you posted 48 hours before, anything reasonably anticipated, so even having a lawyer could be considered reasonably anticipated.
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
that's
But
kinda
there's nothing
done.
wrong with that. I mean, so you post it, open the meeting public for the purposes of going into executive. While in executive, I mean, you don't list who's gonna be there in executive session, correct, Erica?
Correct.
So, you know, you have the attorney, you know, zooming in, and you guys kind of spitball things that you're thinking about.
Yep, okay,
You know, wanting in the contract, and the attorney will say, what are you guys nuts? You can't put that in. Oh, all right, that's fair enough. Or so that you can kind of accumulate your ideas.
right.
Yeah.
Really
So
questions?
then for the agenda, I guess I just want to make sure, Erica, that there's nothing that I leave off here as
No,
my
I
last
can-
request.
You still have a day, right? It's Wednesday at 4. You have until tomorrow at 4.
Yeah,
Something
but
Inspires you overnight.
So I'd suggest, just, seeing past committees is like maybe on your regular, you put, discuss future schedule and any kind of housekeeping items. So meeting minutes, if we have some of those to
Even-
approve, we
yeah,
could do
got
that.
minutes meeting, yeah,
Okay, so we can do meeting minutes, scheduling,
scheduling,
and then moving into executive session.
Erica, do
And
you
then-
have to have anything to discuss in the public session? You can go right from opening the meeting in
Yeah.
public session to executive, do your thing in executive, come out of executive for the purposes of closing the meeting. You don't have, as I understand it, you don't have to have something to be in a public session before you can move into executive.
you do not have to.
Correct. You just have to open it
But
and then to
there is
enter into
something.
But
executive.
oh yeah, obviously, I guess, if there's something,
But
now, would it be just for this committee? I mean, you couldn't, or would you approve meeting minutes for like a general board meeting? Because then the other members would not be given an opportunity to vote on that, right?
The committee would approve their own minutes.
So the minutes that you would be approving would be your own,
only our.
your own, okay?
Yeah,
So-
just the discussion from today, essentially.
So, okay. So now, interestingly, today, I don't think there was any agenda posted right through. Right, it just said.
Nope, there was an agenda.
There was, okay,
Yeah, you could even go into executive now if you wanted, you're covered.
but it wasn't there wasn't one 48 hours ago, right?
No, there is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, triple checking, but no, because you
Sorry,
couldn't
I
have had
didn't
this meeting.
Doing your diligence. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, you're good. All
Okay,
good.
good. Well, in that case, are we okay to go ahead and close this meeting then? And we will look forward to Monday at 4 p.m. Erica, do I need to confirm that with you by email, or is this confirmation?
So after this call, I'm just going to email you the 2 draft agendas, and then you just give me the yes or the no, and then I'll go ahead and post.
So.
That is
So no
awesome.
action from you. I'll send you the agendas. Yeah.
That is so fantastic.
Was it the sense of the board that we'd like to ask Paul to retain somebody, and we could discuss who it would be, but that isn't from the major firms that always work at the discretion of general managers with whom we'd be? Was that the sense from Vivek's setup and things we all said, that we'd like to ask Paul to do that, whether we do it in a vote but that's the sense of this committee at this point?
I'll let Vivek respond, but yes, that would be my sense from our discussion.
Yeah, I think my sense is it's important for us to have someone who's different from the company attorney, right? That's my first criteria. And I just would like to know what the universe of those options is, if there is someone who can represent, be outside the Mass General Law experience and do a good job for us, that's okay with me.
So, by using someone that's not, known to munis, they may think something is copacetic that is not.
Well, I mean, you've raised that, and it's a valid concern. I think if that concern were to materialize, it could quickly be,
So
we
maybe
could get that second opinion.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say.
For sure.
So maybe you guys spitball with an attorney and you come up with what you want in the next contract. And then those ideas, now I'm spitballing,
Sure.
then those ideas go to somebody who is familiar with how these contracts are written. And they reduce it to writing, and then if there's stuff that you think you want in there that is, in conflict with the way that 164 operates or is supposed to operate, that person would tell you.
Sure.
Yeah, I wonder also, Paul, if that's, I mean, presumably whoever we hire is going to have an attorney, and so they would review the contract also, right?
So for me, an attorney did write the contract.
Did
Correct. So.
Yeah, so it's possible that process gets taken care of just in the contract negotiations themselves, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Happy to have that second set of eyes, like you said.
Yeah,
We don't want to get into, and I don't think any of us is looking to is doing anything too crazy here.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you're kind of up against time as well,
Sure.
right? So, if you have, as we all know, you have multiple lawyers in on it.
Yeah, no, and see, Dave,
Yeah.
my concern with Mass General Law is that you don't
You
want
mean
to.
164 when you say that, right? You
Yeah.
don't mean that, yeah.
You don't want to be educating lawyers on your dime, right? You don't want to be
Yeah,
educating lawyers.
exactly. Yes.
And that's a risk. So,
Right.
because lawyers are always happy to take a job, right? Because they can bill you for the hours.
Well, there are many memos already bought and paid for that articulate the positions from those 3 firms, have all produced memos numerous times that articulate what they have put their opinion of what 164 requires. Those resources are readily available.
Yep.
So they've been written and rewritten many times. So I don't think it's,
Yeah, it's not.
it's pretty straightforward what those arguments are. We have seen them. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
Well, so I guess in terms of, in terms of if we wanted a lawyer present, then I guess we would need to ask Paul to secure one for us. Is that right?
I mean, for sure. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. Well, why don't I think I think we can do that if if it's a decision of this committee to decide to, sort of come to you, Paul, and ask you to hire somebody on our behalf, then, we can delegate. Can we delegate somebody to do that?
Well, what we could do is we could leave this conversation where it is and have a conversation offline, because it's not really, I don't think it's a big deal to have a conversation, right? And then
It's being recorded.
well, no, well, I know, but
I mean, we wouldn't necessarily come to you
I
in
don't mean the whole
committee,
committee. I
right?
mean, like, I'm sitting here right now with you, is all I'm saying. And if need be, you convene a vote and make a formal vote and recommendation or.
So why don't you guys do this?
Yeah.
Get me some names of the people that you feel comfortable working with.
Right.
Because all the lawyers that I know are the ones that it sounds like you don't necessarily want writing the contract.
Well, I mean, just for this one purpose
Exactly.
is all. And
Exactly.
just let's have a little bit of
Fair enough.
a little bit of distance is all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't we, so how would that be carried out without violating open meeting law? Would each one of us send you?
You guys can,
Okay.
well, that you can't do business by email. So
Correct.
we're all together now.
We are.
It's, duly noticed meeting.
We are. I don't know that we have, as a group, have thought and navigated names at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know that we can brainstorm names together without
Exactly.
open
What you
meeting law.
could do, I guess, is, folks that you are, say, comfortable with, get me their names and I can talk to them and say,
Yep. Okay.
what's your experience, or
So in other words, each of us might send you an email, hey, here's two. You make the phone call.
and I'll make some phone
And
calls.
you report back to the chair and you could do that tomorrow or.
Yes, when you get me names, I can make calls as quickly as I can make calls and,
Okay. All right. So you're
Okay.
willing to.
yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that. So each of us, why don't we, or Mr. Chair, if each of us sends two names of people, but do some due diligence. They need to be public sector, municipal law.
Right.
They need to know, they're not corporate lawyers.
Not corporate lawyers,
Right.
not the personal injury lawyers, folks who have
Right.
a.
No, and
Yes.
yeah, excuse me on this. I'm sorry, I don't know any law firms that would be beyond the ones I've seen as part of the RMLD engagement. So
Oh,
Dave,
but I mean-
so Rich, I'm sorry, please excuse me. I will not be able to forward any names. I don't know of any.
Yeah, that's
So,
okay. I can forward a couple and
maybe I'm going to suggest that they be people that are familiar with employment law.
For sure.
Who've written contracts
Right.
for executive types
Correct.
before.
And municipal law, not private, because.
Correct, because they're different.
Yeah, because I know all the corporate law. I know most of the corporate law firms in Boston, but not on.
Don't forget, RMLD is going to be paying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, we can check.
Are willing to pay. So.
Well, we can do that. I think I can get you a couple names for sure, Paul.
I'll work on it.
Yeah. Okay. And
Thank
then you can just report back to me so that we're not, it's not a reply all thing and that's great. We'll go from there.
Yep. Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Well, in that case, I think we can bring the meeting to a close.
No, we go into executive, right?
No, I don't think we need executive. We'll save the executive for Monday.
That's fine. That's fine. Perfect with me.
So
We'll give you back a few minutes, Vivek.
Thank you, sir.
Unless I'm jumping the gun, I can move to adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Vivek Soni, aye.
Great. We're adjourned.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Very good.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
See you, Rich. See you, Vivek.